Good morning. We are live. It is Wednesday morning, and here we are again. Um, last night was an awesome night, and I really appreciate the questions and the interaction. It was wonderful. Joyce is here from Mesa. Good morning, Joyce. And Janice from Kentucky. And Linda's here from New York. Hello, my friend. Lori is here from Thatcher, Arizona. And Sandy is here living in the sauna. Oh my gosh, it's hot and it's muggy. Okay. And rain later today. You know what always blows my mind is when it's muggy and it rains, the mugginess goes away. You would think just the opposite, right? Good morning, Diane from Massachusetts and Jenny all the way from the UK. So good to see you, my friend. This morning, what we are going to do is something that's just a little bit different. We are going to be using the SoBiz 6-piece set of Christmas motifs. And these are 4-inch motifs. So they're relatively large. If you look, here is the bell and the Christmas tree and the gingerbread man. Go get your roll. And we are being joined by Tippy, our border collie, who thinks because I'm speaking, we have company. Go get your ball. Okay. Oh, sorry about that, Susie. Good morning from Texas. And Pam, good morning to you from Maine. Now, what I want to show you first is a little sample that you probably have been seeing online because I have posted it in several places. And this is what we're going to replicate this morning. Hi, Cynthia from Fort Worth, Texas. Go get your ball. Okay, this is the bell. And what I did was I used the Starry Night templates and a little free motion in the background. Go get your ball. Go get your ball and you'll be fine. Get your ball. Go. And on this one, what I did was I did some embroidery. And if you could just excuse me for 1 minute, I'm going to take care of her, okay? Okay, border collies they're nothing else. They are definitely persistent. Cynthia's here from Texas. Good morning again, Cynthia. Janice from down the road. Good morning. And our other you two Janices seem to come in at the same time almost every week. That Janice is from Massachusetts. Alma's here from Missouri. Patsy from New Mexico, Maureen from Kansas, and Carolyn from South Carolina. I am so glad you all could make it. So to get back to the sample that I put together, what I did here was the embroidery from the Starry Night set. And I used the frame in order to go around my applique. And on this one, I use the strand of pearls to frame out my tree applique. So that was what I have done. Now let's take a look at what we're going to do. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how I put this together. All right. Because it is something just a little bit different than what we may be accustomed to. So what I've got here, and this is not just a sample, this is a working Um, it's a work in progress, okay? Lee, good morning. Jan as well, good morning. It's a chilly 58 degrees in southeast Nebraska this morning. I hope you are bundled up and something warm to drink, Jan. Okay, so what I've done is I've put 16 rotations of 16 reference lines on a 9-inch square. The entire square that I have is 12 inches. And what we can do with that is what's called stitch and flip. So we're going to be able to stitch our border on, flip it over like this, and you see how beautiful that is? And it is just so easy. It really is. It's just a piece of cake. Now, with this one, I'm actually going to do 2 borders down here, and I don't think we'll have time to get to it today, but if we do, we definitely will show you how it's done. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to take my, what size is this? This is my Starry Night Star 2, and it is the 1 inch. So what I'm going to do is, notice I do not have the applique on yet. I am going to come out, and I'm just going to do a couple of these for you. I'm gonna make sure that I'm starting way within the the border of the applique. Now, what you can do, and what I have done with some of these, is I've come in and I've lined up my applique here. Just turn it over so it's not slipping around all over. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line it up on my crosshairs. And then I am going to just draw it. Now, what I know is if I come inside of here at least 1/4 of an inch, I'm going to be good. And if you want, you can also use your stitching line discs. I just don't have mine real handy right now. So we're going to come in here and I'm going to pull my bobbin thread up. Carolyn, good morning. Good morning. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, put my foot back down. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I am going to travel out. And the reason I'm traveling out is so that I am not breaking thread and burying strands all over the place, because I'm basically lazy when it comes to that, to be honest with you. So I'm well within my applique here. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to stitch out. I am using a pretty high contrast thread, but that's okay. We could do it any way we want. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. I'm not going to worry about tying it and burying it simply because it's going to be under the applique. It won't matter. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my template on. And I'm just going to stitch around. There we go. Very nice. Remember to make slower stitches when we're using these templates. Take your time so you don't fall off of those cliffs. That's what we don't want to do, right? And we're going to come back to the beginning. Now what we can do is we can just lift our foot, put it back down, keep our template lined up, and use that instead of our 12-inch arc to get us back to where we began. If you want, what you can do is you can do this section prior to putting the backing on. The reason I put the backing on was because I didn't want to have to try and get up and do all of this while I was showing you how we put this together this morning. Okay, so now I'm going to come back up. And remember, I've got myself drawn in, so I know when I get outside of that, I will be well away from my applique. So here we go. Just going to do a second one for you. There we go. A little sticky there. I polished my table last night, but I didn't do it again this morning. Obviously, this shows us how very important it is to keep that slider polished. It will help us move along quite nicely. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this down. And now we're going to come all the way back to the starting point. Okay, I know you guys know how to do this, so I'm not going to waste your time watching me stitch out stars, okay? There we go. I'll finish those later. So what I would have here is a nice ring of stars like we did here. Okay. Who else? Oh, Lisa's here from Sugarland and Lori from Texas. Janice, hi from Pembine, Wisconsin, which is about 30 minutes south of where I live. Rosemary's here from Florida. It is so nice to see you all. So here is what, in essence, I am doing, and we bring them all together. Now, what you'll notice is I did do all of this while I had my backing on. After I was done with it, I thought to myself, I really should have left my backing on while I was doing this part of it. It just would look cleaner. And here you could tell by when you try to match the thread to the fabric, all you're going to see basically is the shadows and the light. And so it won't be really a huge, huge deal if you do that. Okay, so now I want to this is my ornament. That's what this particular is. Ruth Ellen's here. Lois is here from Delaware. Good morning. Nancy is here from up the road. Gail made it from New Jersey. And Linda's here from Pennsylvania. Sandy is here from rainy Texas. First time for her to comment on here. Welcome, Sandy. Thank you for letting us know you're here. Really appreciate that. Everybody got their coffee. Hopefully it's hot and it's good, right? Okay, so to place the applique, you could, if you would like, put Template Fuse on the back. Okay, then we're going to set it down. Now, with everything we have, whether we're making a backing to it or not, putting a background design in like this or not, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have got at least a vertical and center or a vertical and horizontal center line. And the reason we want that is to line up our templates. Remember, these are 4-inch templates. So 2 inches above, 2 inches below, 2 inches to the right, and 2 inches to the left. So here we go again, because I know I was outside of my camera range. I apologize. I'm going to pull it back a little bit. I'll put this darker fabric behind it so you can see it better. Here's our halfway mark. And then we're going to go 2 inches to the top, 2 inches to the bottom, 2 inches to the right, and 2 inches to the left. We have a lot of really very nice markings in here. If you'll notice this horizontal line and this horizontal line, if you were to drop your foot and put your needle down, your line is going to come where these 3 lines actually meet. And up on top, it's going to be where these 2 lines and the needle channel meet. On the side, we have the same thing. We have this vertical line on each side, and that is where our needle will fall that far away from the template. Okay. Oh, good. All right, we got Lori loving the backing fabrics. Thank you, Lori. I really do. I really do love this line of fabric. As a matter of fact, I did a Cali Star quilt out of these fabrics. So being that it's going to be a table topper for Christmas, this will go well with them. And Sandy said, hi again from Cary, North Carolina. And Kim RFD says, a little bit late, but I'm here. It's okay, Kim. The important part is you are here. And you can always go back because these are recorded and saved. So I've just cut a piece of fabric. Here is the outline of the template that I drew. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to lay it down. And now what I'm going to do is line up my template. Here is my center vertical is here and here, and my center horizontal comes here and here. Is it possible to get it perfect? I don't know. I never have. I've never gotten it perfect. Does it matter? No, not at all. It really doesn't. As a matter of fact, with this one, you could do 3 different orientations and it would leave a very cute design. Actually, I think we'll do that just for grins and giggles. I'm going to go ahead and move you in a little bit. There we go. And the reason I like to do that is so that I can see where I'm sewing. I'm going to go ahead and grab my thread, hold that template down, put my foot down, and pull that thread up. And that brings my bobbin thread to the surface. This one I will leave long, and I will go ahead and make a knot and bury it. So, and take that 1 stitch in place. This is a curve, both an outside and inside curve. So what we want to do is keep those stitch lengths just a little bit shorter to make our curves look smoother. Okay, and around we're going to go. Now coming in towards the center, and you'll see the beautiful roundness on the bottom. A lot of times when we have enough room for the foot to sit only when we're changing directions, that will make us have a point or a curve. Okay, so I'm going to get back to the top. Again, be careful not to fall off that cliff, and I'm going to go back where I started at. Okay, so I'm going to make a little bit of an embellishment here. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to keep my foot in that upper center portion of the template. And now I'm going to come down, and this is going to make it look like 3 ornaments, 2 sticking out from the back of the first one. I'm going to stitch around until I get to the line of stitching with that first ornament, which is going to be right here, I think. It's hard for me to see. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this for just a moment. There we go. I apologize, those, um, that light makes the things wavy. And we're gonna stop when we hit the ornament. There we go. And now we're gonna go back to the top. And this will not make it any more difficult to cut the, applique out. And I usually have a couple different pairs of scissors that I use to cut the applique. So I am back to the top. Now what I'm going to do is realign my template and come over to the other side of the top of the ornament. Okay, and we're going to, how far did I go here? Oh, right there. And we're going to come out again. I'm again lining up on that first reference line from the center. And we're going to repeat it on this side, making sure that we get nice small stitches around those curves. And there we go. And we'll come back up. Remember, traveling is not difficult. Just be cautious and do not move your template if you can get away with that, and you'll travel just fine. Okay, so now we've come back up to our starting point, and I'm going to go ahead and pull my needle and turn that off for you so that it's not kind of in your face. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And now what we've got is our main ornament here and two ornaments just peeking out from the side over here. So now comes the time with the applique that we need to remove all of this fabric from the side. Good morning, Di, Southern California. It's okay, Di, that we always have this recorded. You can watch the beginning later, not a problem. Okay, so I have got my duck-billed applique scissors, okay? And I'm going to start working with them to go ahead and cut this off. Now, this is like templing in reverse, okay? And since templi basically is reverse applique, you'll see how it can be different. The reason that we would want to put templi fuse on here is so that these stitches, once they're ironed down, pressed down, they're not going to fray at all. Now, if you're going to use this as a project that will be, say, put on a table or something, and it will get soiled and it will need to be washed, definitely use the Templi Fuse. If, however, you're putting it on an area that's going to stay clean and your chances of washing it are slim, it's not really necessary because the Templi Fuse keeps the fabric from raveling. Okay, so you'll see I leave a little bit of a space here. And keep watching, making sure that I'm getting this in the camera. Patsy's here. Good morning, Christine, who's finally here. Christine is another person that lives right up the road from me. Oh, it's good to see you all here. Okay, so you'll notice I don't take big bites of my fabric. and I don't try to go crazy getting as long as I can. The other thing that I do like to do is hold the fabric that I've already cut off of out of my way. Okay, I just don't need it flip-flopping all over the place. It's kinda like somebody being underfoot while you're trying to make dinner. Alright, and when they do that, I say, "That's it, you're taking us out for dinner." Yeah, that doesn't work too often, but it's a nice thought. Okay, so here we go. These duck-billed scissors, some people find to be a little clumsy. I don't. I really like them for this project, and I think they work well. Now, what I especially like is you'll see just how narrow this tip is right here, and I'll show you how easily it goes into a tight place. And there we go. Very nice. Now with this out, I can kind of hold it up and get that scissor in there again because of that very small edge of the blade. The bill part stays on top all the time, and I can get a really sharp cut there. Now, if you don't have the luxury of owning one of these, then what I will use to cut those little inside pieces out is a blade like this. This will again get into the very corner of things. The only thing you have to watch out with this is these are sharp and sometimes they will grab the fabric down here, the base fabric, and then you can run into a little bit of trouble. If that happens and you get a little slice out of there, what you would want to do is go ahead and put just a little tiny bit of Template Fuse under there, hit it with the iron, and that will resolve that little cut. There's no reason that you have to make the whole piece over again. Okay, so we're gonna clean this up just a hair here, and I'm gonna switch over to my other scissors, and there we go. So that is our triple ornament. It kinda looks like a flower bud too. I don't know what I was thinking. Pam is here from Florida. Good morning, Pam. Now, what you may wanna do to, just discern which is which, you may wanna use a light colored thread coming around this ornament, such as a silver metallic in this instance would be very nice. So this is our first applique block, okay? And I'm going to pull out next. I'm going to pull out the star template. You'll see I really tried to make sure I had everything ready for today. So again, I've got a vertical and horizontal line in here, and I'm going to take a quick sip of caffeine because this one, what I want to do is show you how you can incorporate, if you're so inclined, incorporate a little bit of free motion quilting in with your design. And that's done just a little bit differently. Gail says she needs these templates. These are so much fun. They really are, Gail. You won't be disappointed. And the size of them is just right. I mean, if you wanted to do a quilt like this with these 4-inch appliques, you can do, well, this is a 12-inch block. This will be a 12-inch block when I'm finished, and it goes in no time. It goes really, really fast. Great stash buster too. Okay, so on this particular one, and let me show you the prototype that I did. I don't know why I called a prototype, it's just a sample. I wanna show you, and you'll see I did not put the backing on while I was doing this portion of it. You can, you don't have to. So what I'm gonna show you here is, first off, it's gonna be the star instead of the bell. And what you'll notice on this one, I did use metallic thread for it, okay? And I am using dark blue on this because I want to make it show. I really wanna make it show. Now this one we're gonna do a little bit different in the fact that we're going to do the applique first. So I'm going to lay my fabric down. I'm going to line up my ruler. What you're gonna notice, this star is not a perfectly does not have perfect symmetry. It is kind of cattywampus. It gives it character, and I really love that fact that it is off center. Simply because those of you who know me really well know that I am off center anyway. And Janice comes up with a great suggestion, but she always does. She said a great design for tea towels for Christmas. And that's a great idea, Janice. Okay, so I am going to go. Okay, I'm just going to move this up a little bit. It doesn't matter if you're perfectly on, especially with this one because the template itself is cattywampus. That's a technical term. I do make up a lot of technical terms. Okay, so we're going to pull that bobbin thread up, and this time I am going to leave it so that I can bury it. And on this one, I will show you how I do that. Line everything up and put my needle down. Take that first stitch in place so I don't end up with toe catchers. Now this one is mostly straight stitching. The only real curves we have are the points of the stars. And we do want to keep those points to be somewhat pointy. They're going to have a little bit of a curve to them. So when you go around them, what you want to do is make sure that you shorten up that stitch length a little bit. Normally, I will tell you, if we're doing a curved template, to shorten up the stitch all the way around. But this one is so distinctively different that you can get away with just shortening up those stitches right where I'm at now on that curve and keeping them a regular size on the straight portions of it. Now, I know somebody is going to ask, why am I doing the applique first on this one when I did the background first on the last one? Well, the reason being is I don't want my background stitching to come out behind the applique. Okay, I want it to surround the applique. I don't want it to be underneath it. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and we're going to trim those threads, and let's see. Carla, good morning from Oklahoma. Oh, Sandy does have these templates. She's not used them for applique yet. Sandy, I hope now you will try them. Would you need to use, Maureen asks, would you need to use stabilizer if doing this on a tea towel? And if so, what kind? Maureen, yes. I would strongly suggest using a stabilizer, and you can use something like a cutaway whisper mesh. It's going to stay very, very soft. You could also use something like a melt away or wash away. And then it would be totally gone after the fact. Now, a lot of people that I know that I have seen do tea towels have actually put a backing strip. They do their work on the front, and then they have just a strip of fabric folded, the edges folded under on each side, and that gives them enough stability. Personally, I like the idea of using a stabilizer much better. Just like I said, whisper mesh, something light. It doesn't have to be overly dramatic. I would not use a heavy cutaway, and I would stay away from tearaways also. And the reason that I would do that, and trust me, I'm not an embroidery expert by any means, but the reason that I would stay away from that, common sense tells me linen is very loosely woven fabric. And so if you use a tearaway, what can happen is it is going to skew not only your design, but your towel. So, just my thoughts on that subject. Whether they're right or wrong, yeah, I can't say, but they are my thoughts. Okay, so you'll see that when I pulled up my my bobbin thread in the beginning, I pulled both threads up to the right side. I did not pull my bobbin thread up to the right side at the ending. So what I do is I turn my project over and I actually bury it from the back. And that way I don't end up with 2 knots in exactly the same space. And I know some people like to make a knot out of all 4 stitch or all 4 layers of, thread. I just prefer not to. If that's the way you do it and are comfortable with it, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Do it the way you like best. Okay? All right. So, Janice and Suzanne, or I'm sorry, Janice says she uses wash away, it works well. Sandy said, could you use the Template reverse applique method instead of an applique? You mean for Sandy, I assume you're asking on a tea towel. Could you do it? Yes, you could. Okay. I would definitely, though, want to use some a template fuse on it to keep where that is cut nice and solid. Lori said, are you going to join the backs in a quilt or a tabletopper? Lori, with this project, I am going to do a tabletopper. As I said, I've done the Cali Star for my dining room table, and the this particular one that I'm working on here is going to be a 3-block table topper like this. I'm just going to pull you back so you can see it better. This is the sample that I did, and it's going to sit on the library table next to my dining room table, so everything will match. Okay, Debbie says, I've been doing embroidery a long time and agree that cutaway on loosely woven fabric works well. So thank you, Debbie. Joyce says, "Thank you for explaining. I wondered why you didn't bring up the bobbin thread at the end." Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of people say that because most instructors do bring it up at the end, and you can. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's no really right or wrong way. There are no quilt police contrary to what we've all been told. They will not come and get us and throw us in fabric jail. Although jail wouldn't be bad, would it, if we had a never-ending stream of fabric, sewing machines, and thread? But unfortunately, they can't let us have scissors in jail. So that would kind of negate the fun, wouldn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rough cut this out here, and I'm going to come back. Whoops, I want to get it up there so I can show you. I'm just going to rough cut it and come back and clean it up later for the sake of time. Okay. And this is a great way to incorporate some of that embroidery that we've been looking at that is so beautiful. I am, like I said, I'm not a seasoned embroiderer, but I am learning and using my embroidery machine with the embroidery, and I feel more confident every time I do it. I think the designs are beautiful. My next project, which I will start likely tomorrow, is going to be a panel with some edge-to-edge designs. So I'm really looking forward to that. I did a practice panel. I suggest everyone do a practice before because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, the practice one I did looks terrible. Okay. Thank you, Lori says it's very pretty. Jan said, "Where can I find those scissors and the name of them?" These are Ginger. These are Ginger. I think most scissor manufacturers make duck-billed scissors. As far as you could go on Amazon and find them. You know, they're everywhere. I would suggest starting at your local quilt shop. That's where I like to buy things from. My dear brother decided I needed a pair, so he did purchase these for me, and I will always cherish them. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to get out. Boy, if you guys could see the mess I got here, you wouldn't believe it. And it's a good thing I'm not OCD and like things put away, right? You're welcome, Jan. And no comments from the peanut gallery, okay? Thank you. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got star number 1 from the Starry Night set. Doesn't have to be a star. You can use any small template you want, and it'll work exactly the same. Okay, so I'm just going to set these off to the side here. Now, not everybody likes free motion stitching, and that's fine, but I did want to just show you a little bit of it so that if it's something you think you want to try, I think it's a great way to enhance our ruler work and to get practice on different types of quilting. So let me find my bobbin thread. There it is. I'm going to just come up right here in the right at the edge of my fabric, and I am going to pull my thread up. I am not going to worry about burying it, however. I'm just going to take a couple small stitches, and you'll see that this is outside of where the seam allowance is going to be where I do the stitch and flip borders. Joyce says she's got a pair of gingham too and had them for years. Yes, and they last forever. How nice that So Steady added numbers to the Starry Night font this week. Well, Linda, thanks for letting us know. I wasn't aware of that. So that's awesome. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a couple small stitches here, and this is just going to be a simple meander. And yes, I stitch slowly. I'll try to speed up a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is every so often, and I think this is the spot's picked quite randomly, I will go ahead and raise my foot, and I will put either my 1 or my 1.5, I'm sorry, and my 1-inch star on, preferably with the staple tape next to the fabric. Now, the big question everyone asks is, how do we get going in a different direction and not make this look like a bunch of Christmas lights? Okay, I'm going to show you how I do it. We can do it many different ways, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to travel back a little way on my star, and I'm going to start at the next point. And now I'm just going to keep doing my meandering. And off we go. The one thing I love about stippling, you don't have to be good at it, because it's supposed to be all over the place and very, very random. Okay, we're going to come up here. What I think is important is to keep your hands somewhat close to where you're stitching. Going down this way now. And come around and just make little loops. A loopy design is actually easier than just a plain old stippling design. Okay, so now I'm going to come here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this one in. And I'm going to come down a little bit because I really don't want that to be in the back of it. So I'm going to come into this direction. And when I put them on, I put them on in all different directions. So this is another use for all of these templates that we have, that we love, and can be made to work in tandem with other modalities to really step up our quilting abilities. Now this one, I'm not going to come out of that first star point. I want to be below that. So I'm going to just stitch down to there. Now I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to just keep meandering. And don't forget, if you feel challenged for stippling, DM Quilting has a template for stippling. It works very well. It's easy to use. The results are absolutely beautiful. So don't be afraid. Free motion is very much like what we're doing with our templates. It takes practice, right? So I think I'll put another small star here. And that gives you an idea of what my thought process is for these. Now this time, I'm not gonna come down to a different star point. I'm going to leave where I left off. So I'm gonna jump off. There we go. I've made my point. Now I'm just gonna jump off of that, okay? And I'm gonna come in this direction, fill this little space in right here, and make a couple little meandering moves and come on out and keep it going. Okay, so that is just an idea of how you can do this with incorporating free motion and guided free motion. Because we all know template ruler work is guided free motion. Oh, Jean is here from Mount Vernon, Washington. Welcome, Jean. Okay, I love this. Lori says, let's look at what Lori says. She said it would be cute if you added a little bit of extra batting underneath the star for another look. And you know what, Lori? You're absolutely right. That is called trapunto. And you know what? I think I can do that with the next block that I'm going to use. The next block that I'm going to use is these stockings. So we will go ahead and do that. I'll grab some more batting and we'll try it out. Okay, Jean. Oh, Jean, I already said good morning. I'm sorry. Maureen says, my curves are not smooth. When she tries to stipple, it looks jerky. Maureen, that's okay. There is such a thing as a sharp stipple where you don't actually make curves. You actually make like little points. But the key to getting things to work right is with free motion. It's the same as we do with our templates. It's a matter of practice. When I was learning free motion, which was quite a few years ago, every morning I diligently spent 15 minutes practicing a design. Okay. Jean is here. Um, Lori. Oh, Lori got to see Stacy last week in Tucson. Awesome. Awesome. She's such a nice girl. Okay. Joy says she creates a motif with meandering designs for her embroidery machine. She's never tried free motion with motif and meanders. Yeah, you know what? They work really great, Joyce. They really do. So this is, as I showed you before, this is my stippling and my star. Okay, now I am going to grab another piece of batting here. If you'll excuse me just for a second. Just happen to have a little bit left over on my ironing board. That is awesome. So what we're going to do a trapunto applique, okay? We're gonna definitely go over time. I hope that's okay with everyone. And if you have to leave, that's okay too. Totally understandable. So the first thing that I am going to do is just cut a piece of batting. And I'm going to set it down. And then I am going to get my little stocking out and I'm going to line up my template. Okay. I'm going to pull my bobbin thread up as best I can. Make sure I didn't move anything. No, it looks good. Put my needle down. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to come around my template. I'm going to let go of that thread. I always like to hold on to it, and then when I get to a point where I feel very comfortable, I will let it go. There we go, all the way around. And back to the beginning. Okay, no need to knot it. No need to bury it. We're going to go ahead and slip it off. And this is what we've got now. We have our little stocking done just in batting. We don't have the fabric on yet. So the next step is that we're going to cut this batting off. And here again, I use my duck-billed scissors. Okay, I'm going to hold it up and I am going to get as close to that line of stitching as possible. You really want to go almost to the point where you're almost cutting the stitches. This is going to take a little bit of time if you want to do it right, and I assume you do. Now, a lot of times with trapunto, what you're going to have is you're going to have a whole piece of fabric that's going to go over the entire portion that's trapuntoed. And then you don't have to be quite so careful with your cutting. And I can see there that I've got a little area I need to clean up. Make sure you don't cut the fabric underneath. And I do tug a little bit on the batting. I'm not pulling it all that hard. I am just making sure that it is standing up. And remember those other scissors I told you about? Right here is where I need to use them and just clean this up a little bit. Okay. We want that as close as possible for the way we are doing it. Like I said, if you were putting fabric over the whole thing, you would not need to be quite this careful. Okay, I'm getting there, guys. I know it's probably a little early to be thinking about Christmas designs, but if you're like me, there's so much to do to get ready for the holiday that now is a good time to get started. Especially if you do a lot of handmade gifts. And I hope that the people who are the recipients of those gifts are very appreciative of your time and talents. Anybody can go to a store and hand out some money for something, but a homemade gift comes from the heart and it comes with a lot of love. Okay, still going here. And you can see it's just going to take a few minutes. Enjoy your coffee while I'm doing this. Getting around the toe. Almost there, guys. Almost there. And by holding this up and actually holding it not stretching it, just holding it nice and taut. It does help make the cutting process easier. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to give one quick look, and it looks like we got a little spot down by the toe here that we're going to clean up a little bit. There we go. And I'm just going to clean that up. And this is where a lint roller comes in very handy. It gets all these little pieces of lint out of here for us after we're done. And there we go. If you snip a thread at this point, it's not the end of the world. Okay? There we go. Now there is our stocking. Okay, let's take a look for any more comments, because I think oh, hi, Vera, you're here from Utah this morning. You all know that I don't have a moderator in the morning. Okay, so now I'm going to come here and put this on. Now comes the important part. When we put this template back on, we have to make really positively sure that it is in exactly the right space. So where did there it is. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my ceramic pencil and make some registration points. And that's all I'm doing is just making some points along the stocking. Oops, comes up here, okay. That's where the corner is. There we go. So now when I put this down, I can actually use my spacing gauge to ensure that I am exactly at the right spot. This needs to come up just a little more. And to the left a little bit. There we go. I think we got it, guys. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my foot down, pull my thread up. And I'm going to tell you, this is a lot easier to do if you're not trimming away the upper fabric. So let me see. Yep. All of those look good. And around we're going to go. I'm going to do this one with a little bit shorter stitch. If you get off a little bit, don't worry. You can always go back and trim. Okay? That is a definite can do. Now, if any of you out there are praying people, now's the time. We're going to see how this comes out. I have never done this, okay? I've done trapunto, but never in this manner. And I'm just going to go ahead and get that. All right, so look at our little stocking. It is so cute sticking up there. I'm going to go ahead and clip some threads here. Okay, now any of you that are gambling folks, now's time to take bets on whether I did this correctly or not. So I'm looking underneath here, and you guys look at this. Look at it worked. It worked very nicely so far. Let's hope it's going to work all the way around. And by golly, it did. Wow. Sometimes I get excited over things that work out. Love it when a plan comes together. Except for one thing, look at what I just did. I just cut my base fabric along with my applique fabric. Well, you know what? This one will be called a test, and I will go back and do this one over again. Okay, and here we go. And we're just going to quickly cut this off here because now we know I've got to do it over again. Yeah, worse things have happened, right? Don't sweat the small stuff. And it's all just small stuff. Okay, and around we're going to go here. Need to clean that up a little bit, no worries. And around here. And now what you could do as well is if you wanted to, you could put a ribbon or something around the outside of this. That would work too. Or some fancy stitching, maybe like a buttonhole stitch or a satin stitch. That would look real pretty too. You know, these things that we're showing you here are just starting points. Isn't that great? We can go so much further. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just clean this area up here. And there we go. Got a little bit of batting sticking out here, no worries. And we're going to round this off a little better. There we go. And there's our trapunto stocking. Look at that. It worked. It awesome. It worked really well. Okay. Now, Lee Law asked, what are the scissors with the points you're using? These scissors are Inspira scissors. Inspira is a is a brand carried by Husqvarna Viking. And I got them in a Joann's store in the Viking gallery because most of the, and I understand that since Singer has purchased Husqvarna Viking, they have moved most of their stores out of Joann's stores and into Michael's stores. Okay. So, I'm not sure where else. Try your local quilt shop first, always. Tell them what you're looking for, and possibly they will be able to order it for you too, as well. Okay, Lee, hopefully that'll help. Joyce says it's not too early at all for Christmas. She's already working on her Christmas gifts. Joyce, can I send my Christmas list to you? Okay, yes, Di says depending on the template, you could use an echo guide to stitch down the batting. Absolutely. Great, great idea. Great. Um, Lori says she needs to start March to get it all finished by Christmas. Maureen asks, can you use a type of batting for this? Yes, Maureen, you can, but I will caution you, okay? And what I'm going to caution you with is When you use a polyester or a wool batting, they have extremely high loft. So you want to kind of watch that a little bit. This was just an 80/20 poly cotton blend that I used here. And you can see it turned out very, very nice. Kathy, good morning from Ontario. So nice to see you. And Debbie said you can also use fusible fleece to do the turbunto all in one step. Yes, Debbie, you're absolutely right. I don't because I don't have any of that available to me too close by. Um, okay, otherwise, oops, yep. Can I fix this cut with Temply Fuse? You know what, Kathy, depending on what I use oh, wait, I'm sorry, Linda asked that question. Depending on the background that I put in, yes, absolutely, I can fix it with Temply Fuse, definitely. And Linda's right. So use a satin stitch to stitch around the outside. Okay, Jan says, "Practice, Kathy, practice for the real thing." She is so right. I tell Jan all the time, "Practice, practice, practice." Okay, so how puffy is the stocking? I don't know how I'm gonna show you guys. There, just like that, I think you can see. It's probably about a quarter, not quite a quarter of an inch, but more than an eighth of an inch. It sticks out there nicely. Okay. Jenny says I could use some where'd you go, Jay? I could use some ribbon to cover up the cut on the top fabric. You're absolutely right. Fuse it down, finish your quilting. Nobody will ever know, Lori suggests. Awesome. You guys are great. You know, I really appreciate it that you're offering me ideas instead of laughing at me for being so dense. Oh, Carla's gonna try all of kinds of ideas that she's got. Okay, Patsy's got 7 kids and 8 grands. She does have to start early. Jan is just finishing last year's project. Hi, Patsy from Ohio. Oh, Joyce has a big family as well. Um, Application with rope template in the border scale, that's absolutely beautiful. It's a great idea. It is, Lee, it is puffed up pretty nice. So, oh, you guys, what a wonderful morning. It's a great way to start the day. I do so much appreciate you being here. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. And at sewsteady.com, under the education tab is instructors. You can find my mug there. Hopefully, it won't break your computer, but please leave me a message. Love to get messages from you all. And as you're trying these things out, don't forget to put them on Lustily by me. We'd love to see the result of what we're teaching. It just reinforces us. Now, Jan, you're right. Wool, all handwork, of course, would help as well. Now, what I want you to know is now the second Tuesday of each month, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be demonstrating how we can incorporate em- embroidery with our templates. So next week will be my first time doing it. I will be doing it both Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning. Oh, you're welcome, Jackie. Thank you, Suzanne. I hope that I get to see you there. It'll be interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm a novice embroiderer, but I am learning and I am having a ball doing it. So until we meet again, hi, Jennifer. Let's quilt.